AI in academia in general is super divisive. My thought process was, what's the best way that we can make an AI integrated product that is ethical, that's morally right, and help people enhance their research and do better study?
Welcome to the podcast, Alec.
Good to meet you, Zain. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, we're super excited to have you here. We're not going to make the audience wait. We're just going to give it to them up front. The most exciting part of your story, obviously, you managed to build an AI app called Afforai, and you managed to grow it to 700,000 in revenue in 3 months, which is frankly quite insane for a first-time founder and a bootstrap startup. So let's start there. What were you doing before Afforai?
I was in my last year of college. I was graduating with applied to hundreds of jobs with no interviews, literally just trying to work away, trying to get a job, but couldn't. So I started this student project and it grew to what it is now.
Can you explain a little bit about how this started? How'd you find the idea?
Yeah, so I throughout my 4 years, right? I have to hustle and bustle, and I need to work multiple jobs to kind of help me survive through college. And one of those jobs was actually helping as a student tutor for economics, data science, and computer science department with my now co-founder. So I taught a lot of students. I assisted a lot of professors with their research. So that's my domain of expertise in a way. So at the end of my senior year in college, there was a student startup competition. And the grand prize was $10,000. So I had my eyes set for that. And that's how I kind of try out multiple different ideas using AI, leveraging AI, and build a student project to win that competition. And ultimately, it became what Afforai is today.
That's fascinating. Out of curiosity, what degree was it that you were doing?
Economics and data science major.
And how many jobs did you apply to?
Probably over 500. I kind of lost track out of there.
Okay, cool. So I think lesson number one that I'm getting here is don't do a degree in economics because you're not going to find a job.
No, don't do it.
This is super exciting, right? So you're working with professors, so you are getting exposure to this problem of citations and so on and so forth. At what point are you thinking this is a significant pain point and people are actually going to pay for this?
The MVP was, chat with documents AI tool. I think a lot of AI tools have the same starting ground, but for us, we always look for how can we differentiate in a way that people actually want to use this. AI in academia in general is super divisive, meaning there's one side that embraces AI all the way through, and there's another side that's super against AI. There's really no common ground. So my thought process was, what's the best way that we can make an AI integrated product that is ethical, that's morally right, and help people enhance their research and do better study? That's always the goal. And so, with that goal in mind, I kind of try out multiple different ways, explore different MVPs. We built 5 different MVPs before we landed on Afforai, the AI-powered reference manager today, that actually solve a painful problem for the researchers, which is managing citations and accurately cite things as they write using AI and so on. And it's ethical and actually help students and not help them cheat.
Really interesting. I think you can mention 2 things which I want to have a follow-up conversation. One on the ethical and the bias piece, and then I think how do you kind of some of the other ideas you were researching and the MVPs which were different. So maybe we can start with the MVP piece. So you mentioned you kind of built 5 MVPs. Were they all kind of in the similar space, or were they kind of looking at different ideas? What were they doing?
I think the core technology remains the same, but the application itself varies across different industries per se. So here's 2, namely before Afforai, it was called Code Assist AI, which I think now is a very table stake kind of thing. As a student project, you use AI to help you write code. But for me specifically, I wanted to build Code Assist AI to be writing R code, R Studio, Python, to help with economic students doing data visualization. So I knew it's something that I know it in and out, super passionate about it. So I started there. But again, it couldn't expand outside the scope of helping you write data visualization code in R. R is kind of like similar to Python, like heavily used in economics and data processing. So that's the first thing. Like when we launched that, we got half of our school signed up to it. But then and I tried to expand that out, but it couldn't work the way I wanted to. So I had to move on to the next idea, which is more for B2B, specifically e-commerce. Think e-commerce, eBay, Amazon sellers. They have a lot of data like reviews. I think custom reviews data that is super unstructured, hard to process. Like you can't process it. So we wanted to use AI to process all of these unstructured data into something actionable. As in like, what out of this 500 user custom reviews, what are they saying about your product? What did they like? What they don't like? And how can we make it numerical and measurable? But again, that have its own pros and cons. And cons is, like sellers turn out they don't really care about the custom reviews, right? Their revenue number data does actually already speak so much to what they need to do and super already actionable. So they weren't willing to pay for that. And so we shifted back to what we were good at and know the pain point inside and out, which is researchers, students, researchers, postdoc, PhDs, and so on. We know the domain inside and out, and that's why, let's shut us off, go back to where we were good at.
So first of all, like one of your idea, you got half the school to sign up, and then you decided that like, hey, it could not expand. Like, how do you get like half your school to start using the product in the first place?
Yeah, so that was a lot of like growth hacking, like do whatever it takes to get users. So I printed a lot of posters, put it around my college. That got us to like I don't know, like a couple hundred users. And then after that, we use social media. So I had a lot of close friends on Instagram, on TikTok. So I asked them to post about Afforai. And again, to this day, I'm so grateful for them because, like it wasn't incentivized. It literally just a favor from a friend to a friend. And I got over 100 friends that posted about Afforai, which led to like half of our school signed up. But the reason, I'm happy to kind of give a bit insight on why we pivoted, if that's what you want to ask.
So in this AI application space, right? Like I think there are two kind of critical things. One's the technology, and one's the distribution. I think the technological barrier has kind of come down for people to enter the space because there are a lot of tools which allows you to build. But I think distribution is still a pretty tricky thing. So just love your thoughts around that, because you've done a great job getting a lot of users to like sign up. You've built multiple products. So just love your thoughts and comments on that.
Yeah, so this is what I learned like in like a year going into building my very first business is even if you have the best product in the world, the growth can be, if you want exponential growth, you need great distribution. Like great product alone is not enough. And vice versa, great distribution alone is not going to be enough. Because if you have great distribution, but your product is, again, lack of a better word, shit, then people sign up and they would never use it again, right? And vice versa is you have great product, but you only have like 1, 2, 3 people sign up and they love it, but they don't really share it to other people. There's no distribution. There's nothing that help you get the next user. Then you're stuck at 3 passionate, loyal users that may pay you or not, depending on your product, whether it's a freemium or not. But so it's such a balance between, I think, having a great distribution as well as having a great product. But then there's another lesson there that I can go into, which is you gotta always launch first and then reiterate, then rather wait for the perfect product. Wait to build the perfect product and then launch. So that's another lesson too.
Yeah, no, I think like sometimes you just gotta ship and see how people respond to your product, because that's like the best feedback. You can keep like your wheels churning in your head, but like, no best feedback than people using the product.
Totally, because I look back at our first MVP last March, which is when we launched our first MVP. Holy crap, it looks so bad. I'm so embarrassed I launched something like that. But I think in hindsight, that's what it took. Because if you're not embarrassed looking back, then maybe you've stagnant or you're not doing something right.
One question I have about the product a bit more,
Yeah.
because I think you're working in the academic space where predictability, accuracy, and bias are like key things. So how have you been able to kind of maintain, predictability on the model, prevent hallucinations, prevent bias, act, and make sure the product is like, giving out accurate answers? Like, what's your approach around that?
Yeah, so that's the crucial problem with all AI and LLM as an industry, hallucinations and sources. So our approach to that is we help researchers research and chat with documents and their documents alone. So that's the first step is we minimize the scope of information and knowledge sources, not from a black box of trade data, but actually from the documents that you uploaded for the AI to research. So in this case, AI is not a know-it-all model that gives you answers. It's a logical reasoning. Think of it like a brain, like a research assistant, to help you research based on what you provided. It's your junior research assistant, as a professor would put it. So that's the first stage. Second is and this is where we took and we had to kind of build up our own technology, is with every AI answer that it gives you based on your documents, it would visualize where the AI got the information from. And there's going to be a citation academic standard. We support over 10,000 citation styles. I'm telling you where the AI got the information from which page, from which paragraph, which sentence. And that's the best way we kind of go around it. And again, like the AI research assistant for our product, Afforai, it's only a feature now. It's not the main product. Because what we are is a reference manager. And that's been a stagnant industry of 10 years that we are innovating on.
Amazing. I think at this point I have a pretty good sense of, the backdrop, how you found the problem, how you got your MVP and got some validation. So
Yeah.
let's get to the juicy part, right? So obviously $700,000 of revenue in 3 months. Walk me through the launch and how you got there from there to your first dollar, and then from your first dollar to those 700,000 within the first 3 months.
Yeah, so that's a super not clickbait. It's a juicy title, right? That's a super
Yeah.
juicy title. $700,000 in 3 months, and that gives the false perception of, oh my God, it's a get rich quick scheme. But it really is not, because we only monetize 6 months in when we were building the product.
Interesting. Yeah.
We started building Afforai, well, at least like the idea kind of started in January of 2023. And we continuously build it and offer it for free for over half a year. Like, it wasn't until July that we started monetizing, and we launched a product hunt, and that we started gaining rapid momentum. And then we launched on a marketplace called AppSumo. And again, there's so many products that launch at AppSumo, but so we also had to do so much research into what makes a good launch, why do people stick around, and what established trust with these users. And that ultimately, like with all of that preparation, helped us became like the top 10 hottest selling product on AppSumo of 2023 and led to $700,000 in revenue.
Okay, that's incredible. So can you tell me a little bit about what makes for a successful launch on AppSumo?
I think there are multiple factors, but I think the most important thing I would say is the ability to leverage user reviews, right? Yeah, people buy when there's enough social proofing. So, and especially on AppSumo, social proof is the most important factor. So we had to, we have a whole MailChimp automated journey, meaning like when a user does this action, we send this email. So we set, for example, when a new user first signed up, there's going to be an automated email journey that say, hey, welcome to Afforai. Here's a user guide that we've personally created for you to help you understand our product and what it can do, and help users get to their magic moment, like the aha moment. Oh my God, so this is what the product does. I like it. It helps me solve this problem. So that's the first automated email that I kind of scheduled in. And then after a while, if they do this action, they've used this feature, they use that feature, or they don't use it. They sign up, but they don't. They have it locked in for three days. We send another email. Hey, we noticed you signed up. We haven't used it. So here's another user guide that can help you understand better. And then after 7 days, we will send an email. Hey, you signed up and you've used our product for 7 days now. I would, if you love our product and it helps you in your work, we would really appreciate an honest review and feedback of our product. If you can give us a review on whether that's AppSumo, that's Product Hunt, that's G2, that's Capterra. Again, it's a bit randomized so that not all reviews go into one place. And so that's how we build up our momentum in terms of user reviews and social proof. And that's a evergreen spinning wheel, right? The more reviews that build up, the more people comes in, that they see more reviews, and the more that they trust that this is a great product.
No, that's really good. That's really good insight around social proof and how that's driven user acquisition. So you mentioned Product Hunt, Capterra, G2. Out of all these platforms, like where have you found the most success so far?
I think the core. I think the question should be what what platform was the best for each stage of growth, because for me, when we first monetized back in July 2023, product was the best channel ever. We had like 1,000 users, and through one day of launching on Product Hunt, we got a ranked fourth product of the day, and we doubled our user in 2 days, and we tripled our users in 1 month. So Product Hunt to us was the best channel at the stage of like 1,000 to 10,000 users, but after we reached 10,000 users, that momentum and product art wasn't enough. And so we had to go back to the drawing board and revise what's the next growth strategy we need for our specific stage of growth at that point, which is how to get from 10,000 to 20,000, 20,000 to 50,000. And then that's where marketing, like influencer marketing as well as AppSumo come into the picture.
No, I love Alec, like how you guys have created this like flywheel of momentum and growth, and kind of like step by step took different platforms and channeled the momentum into the other platform, other step to build the product. Like that's the best way to grow. Curious to know, right? Like obviously, Product Hunt is a prime platform for a lot of applications to launch. Any tips you would like to share with people who are thinking of launching on Product Hunt? What are maybe 3 things they can do really well, which worked for you as well?
Out of 3 things, the first most important thing is make sure Product Hunt is the right place, is the right channel to launch on. Because there are products that doesn't need to be on Product Hunt, or just totally is not geared towards the Product Hunt demographic. Because Product Hunt includes a lot of startups, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of indie hackers. So if you're a SaaS, you have a good shot. If you're a SaaS for entrepreneurs, you have a better shot. If you're a SaaS that helps solve a problem for entrepreneurs building their business, you're the best. Product Hunt would be the best channel for you. And then if you determine that, then the next thing would be you gotta build up the hype towards the launch. You can't just, okay, I'm gonna launch 2 days from now, and launch day kind of just let it be autonomous and ride it out. That's not gonna work. So when we scheduled our launch in July, like when we first monetized, we scheduled the launch 3 weeks in advance. And during that 3 weeks, building up to the launch, we did nothing but engage with the community, engage with other Product Hunt users, and we teased the launch on different social channels that we have, and on my personal Instagram and so on. Like really growth hacking at its core. Do things at non-scalable. Just like every day in and out, engage with people, tease the launch, building up towards the hype, and then you launch and you explode.
Have you guys thought about collecting feedback from the users real time, and then kind of improving it? Like, is there any kind of connectability built there? And secondly, have you thought about leveraging any academics to help you on the back end before you even launch any improvements to the model, to improve it, like using reinforcement learning or any other techniques like that?
I think user interviews, what I realized, at least in our stage, like when we're trying to build a product, reaching product market fit and build something of value, there's really no shortcuts around that. What I mean by that is I've tried to be scalable. I have like automated emails on getting feedback. Hey, you've used it. What are your thoughts? And we have like, can you fill out the survey? But as I do it more and more and more, I realize the insight from a fill that survey email would never ever beat talking to users in person or at least virtually over Zoom. So that's what I realized is so after that, I kind of stopped doing survey emails. I kind of do I try to like meet with users like every single week. And then every time we want to expand Afforai into a new product line or big feature, we want to validate that before we build. We're not like, what we do is we sit down, we schedule interviews with users for like a month, and we do nothing but talk to users and ask the right questions for over a month and validate, and we build. So talking to users is not replaceable, at least at our stage. You got to talk to users, understand it, and know your users inside and out. They got to be your best friends.
Yeah. And then you talked about like the ethical use of AI as well, right? And obviously like the type of tool you guys are building that is super critical. So that's awesome to see. So how are you ensuring that for AI promotes responsible AI usage and an ethical way of like the tool being leveraged?
We help our researchers using Afforai conduct literature reviews safely with AI. That means AI is not the know-it-all engine that gives you answers. The AI part is only a reasoning model that helps you work through your literature review process. Meaning, hey, I have 10 research papers I found. Help me summarize first and foremost, and compare the results, the findings, the test methodology of these research papers and compile it into one report for me. And that's the best way we go about it. I don't believe it's going to replace researchers, nor it should be doing research for you. It's meant to help you with your research and expedite that process. But ultimately, at the end, you, the user, the researcher, would still have to do your research. It's just that we help you accelerate that. And hopefully, we hope accelerate that in the best ethical and most accurate way. And it's a constant improvement.
You may or may not answer this question, so but
Yeah.
I was very curious to know. Obviously, you guys are kind of continuing to iterate on the product. What's like the next exciting feature like your users can expect, which can be dropping in the next few days or weeks?
Yeah. So recently we launched our Microsoft site extension. So for researchers that have used Zotero, Mendeley, and EndNote, we've we've rapidly improved our reference manager aspect of things. So researchers can now upload papers and documents and websites, and we built a citation engine that automatically scrape and fill out this metadata of all these documents to easily cite things when you write. So with our launch of Microsoft Afforai site extension for Microsoft Word, users can now ask cite things, cite their papers and their references that they store on Afforai directly in Microsoft Word, and that's been the most exciting thing for us. What is coming is our native document writer. So for users that do not use Microsoft Word or they don't want to use a site extension and then they want to do everything in Afforai, they can write documents, take notes, write papers, all within Afforai and easily be able to cite things.
So, Alec, you guys have obviously built an awesome product. Out of curiosity, how many folks do you have in the team right now?
Yeah, so we have 5 people in the team. We are very intentionally keeping it lean. But my team members, oh man, like I'm so proud to be able to work with these people. It's amazing talent, and I'm just grateful every day that they believe in the mission that I started. Now it's a full team's effort to continue innovating and growing the product. Yeah, so we have 5 amazingly talented members in my team.
Amazing. And then have you got, I know you guys were bootstrapped when you started. Are you guys still bootstrapped or have you raised any venture capital?
Yeah, so I think for two reasons. So we raised over $500,000 from venture capital in the U.S. And we generate $1.2 million in sales. So but I approach this with mindset of bootstrapping. Even if we raise money, every dollar counts for me. I don't believe in splurging and just because we raise, we can spend it on all the things that doesn't matter. But the two reasons why I had to raise as a founder is because one, we are immigrants. We are international students coming to the US. So by raising institutional capital, we could apply for this visa called O1 because international students in the US are on F1 visa, and that comes with a whole lot of strings attached. You gotta apply for jobs, get employees to sponsor you. You don't have much flexibility around that, and again, it's also based on a lottery system. So even if you're great, it also depends on like a factor of luck. So I really didn't want to have things that are outside of control. So by raising venture capital, we could apply for this O1 visa, which is basically like entrepreneurship business visa, and that's a lot hard to get. And one of the criteria to apply for that and get that is venture capital backing, and the capital itself, and because also the social proof of an institutional fund. So we had to raise venture capital because we are international students. We wanted to stay in the US and build our business. So we raised from them to be able to apply for the O1. Second, we're broke. like what? I don't know what you think, but I don't know what people expect out of two broke students, like recent grads, right? We just graduated college. We don't have much. And international students. We also have restrictions on being able to work. We have to apply for this F1 OPT, and we can't work part time, things like that. So, two reasons why we had to raise venture capital. One is so that we can apply for O1 visa and escape the path of a F1 student visa. Two is because we're broke. We wanted to raise at least a bit so that we can sustain ourselves and grow the company because we don't have any money.
Amazing. So I think the first big lesson that we learned at the start of the interview is that you shouldn't do a degree in economics if you want to get a job. And then the second thing that I'm learning here is that if you want to get a visa in the US, you should start a multi-million-dollar AI startup and get some venture capital. So I think we're getting some awesome tips.
So one question I have for you is, right, like you're in the education space, academia space, you're thinking about AI features and applications to kind of keep improving your product. What are some trends we should be watching out in the next 8 to 12 months in this space?
I think there will be a lot of friction from academia side of things in terms of application of AI in their research. That's the constant thing that that's the kind of questions that we get constantly from new users, from researchers, or from institutions wanting to adopt us. And I'm super grateful that one of our one of our best users turned out to be the Dean of Students of Northern Arizona University. And through her, we were able to finalize a deal that implements and offer Afforai in our first institution ever. And that's like the biggest thing for us because it validates our approach in how to implement AI morally right and safe for researchers. So yeah, we got to deal with our first university ever, which is Northern Arizona University, which validates our approach and how we go about implementing AI in the space of education and research.
So follow question to that, right? Like, let's say I'm a student in university in my first year of undergrad. I have all these down tools which I'm getting exposed to: ChatGPT, Claude, for AI. What are some advice you have for the student who's just starting out to adopt AI in their workflow in a responsible, ethical way?
Okay, here's a here's a biased answer. Use Afforai because it's safer and it's more like we build it with ethical use of AI in mind. That's the very marketing answer. But generally, I think talk to your professors. Talk to multiple professors because again, like I said, different professors have different view of AI specifically and different tools how to do work in general. So the best, yeah, talk to someone that's been there, which is your professors. They would most likely have could be your professors could give you a lot of tips, advice, and what kind of tools you can use and how you should use them.
No, I think that's a great point, right? Like, kind of make sure like you keep all stakeholders engaged and understand like what people are doing and what tools have worked in the past and like how the university policies are changing as well. But I generally think like AI with academia and research is such an interesting area, to like expand. And as we get more better models around reasoning, we will have like significantly more impact in this space as well.
Yeah. I just want to end on a little bit of a fun question. As I was doing research for this interview, I saw that your office has a nap room. So I'd just love if you could share the story around how that happened.
Yeah, so one of our first institutional check was Sputnik ATX VC. So they are an early stage venture capital firm based in Austin, which is where we are now. We've officially moved from Wisconsin, which is where we studied for college, to Austin, Texas, and we're building our company full time here. So Sputnik, when they wrote our first $100,000 check, they generously offer us a 3-month program, pretty much to teach you how you should build a business and how to grow, how to do marketing, how to do sales. So we not only got an investment from them, but we got taught a lot of things that we didn't know that we needed as a first-time founder. And we were able to work for free in their office for 3 months. So as part of their office, they have a nap room for founders. Well, at least that was like, yeah. So they had a nap room there, and in which like I definitely leveraged a lot out of. I used it a lot. I think I was one of the one that used nap room the most, mainly because I just work in the office day and night, and I sleep in the office multiple times a week.
No, that makes sense. I think when Hassan and I were starting out, it used to be about work hard, play hard, but I think everyone's realizing that's not sustainable. So I think the culture is now shifting towards work hard, rest hard. So I think that's definitely a healthier way of living life and building your career. Alec, this was an awesome conversation. I think there's a lot of coincidences that can happen when you're building a startup, and obviously luck is a big part of it. But Hassan and I have been building companies for quite some time, and we can always tell that an entrepreneurial success is almost never a coincidence. I think you're super smart, you're super talented. I think what you've built is incredible, and I think you're gonna keep blowing us away, and I think you're gonna build something even bigger. We're excited for you, we're pumped for you, we're rooting for you, and yeah, thank you so much for making the time and chatting with us.
It's my pleasure, guys. Hassan, Zain, thank you so much for having me today.
That's it for today. Thanks for joining us, and please subscribe so you don't miss another episode. Take care. Bye-bye.